Okay, here we go. I know we still have work to do on practice test 1. I want to get practice test 2 on video, and then we will come back and do as much of practice test 1 as we can.
Are we on video now?
Yes. And we are going to do practice test 2 in reverse. So while we are still fresh, we're going to do the back end, and then as you're getting more tired and probably bored, you'll see at the front end, which will be this one. So, here we go. Practice test 2. Everyone is quiet and focused because I see you on Friday and then our test is Monday. So our time is running out. Let's really pay close attention. Here we go. Three B. These are review periods, Josh. You can only review so many days. 3B. How much 54% solution must be mixed with 6 quarts to get a 49% solution? Amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent.
54%.
We know we've got a 54% solution.
45%.
We've got a 45% solution.
45%.
And we have a 49, or want to end up with a 49% solution. We also know that we have 6 quarts of this stuff right here.
Yeah.
We have no idea how much of this we have, but if we mix X and 6, we'll have X plus 6. Everybody okay with the setup?
Yes.
So now we have 0.54x plus 2.7, thank you. 0.49x plus 2.94. Thank you very much, Meredith SW. You're welcome. Now we'll combine, move the x's and move the numbers and things. So we'll bring this over here very carefully, 0.06x, 05 I mean, very carefully, 0.05x equals
0.4. No, not even close, I'm sorry.
0.24, isn't it? Wouldn't that be 0.24? So x equals 0.24 divided by 0.05, which is 4.8. And that would be 4.8 quarts in this problem, quarts. Does anyone have a question about that? So everybody feels pretty good about that? Now right above it is the other word problem. Jane can build a shelter in 4 hours. Maurice can do it in 6 hours. How long does it take them to build it together? So 1 over alone plus 1 over alone equals 1 over together. Jane can do it in 4 hours. 1 over 4. Maurice can do it in 6 hours, 1 over 6. How long does it take them to do it together? 1 over x.
2 hours.
Now, how do we solve that?
24x.
We're going to multiply by whatever you want, as long as it cancels 4 and 6 and x. So the smallest number that would work is 12. So I can multiply everything by 12x. But are there other numbers you could multiply by? Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to cancel 4, 6, and x. So what would this leave me? If I multiply by 12x, this would leave me with 3x, because 4 goes into 12 3 times.
2x.
This would leave me with 2x,
Plus 12. I mean, equals
and this would just leave me with 12.
12. X equals 2.
So 5x equals 12, and x equals 12/5 hours, which if you want to write that as a decimal, you can. Everybody okay? All right, here we go.
Oh, God.
We're going backwards, so now we're looking at problem F. Who remembers? Yep, we're going to factor the bottom. Very good.
5x plus 3.
You read that book called
We're here.
I read it in my 6th grade.
And the bottom factors how?
X plus 5, X plus 3.
Yep. X plus 5, X plus 3.
Don't you have to factor this out?
No, you do not have to, and thank goodness because it doesn't factor. But no, you do not need to factor the top. With these problems, so Meredith, I don't want you to get confused because with the graphing problems, with the holes and all that stuff, you have to do the top. But with these, it's really just the bottom I'm worried about. Because my goal is to find something to multiply by to lose the bottom, right? So, what can I multiply by that will lose everything?
X plus 5,
X plus 5, X plus 3.
X plus 5, X plus 3. All right, so here we go. First fraction, I'm left with 2x times x plus 3.
2x plus.
Second fraction, everything's gone, so I'm left with x squared minus x minus 10. Now, are these parentheses necessary? Oh, yes, they are.
Oh, yes, they are.
Because we are subtracting all of that. So what do I have to make sure I do? I got to make sure that I change those signs. Because you are subtracting that entire numerator. Here, I'm going to have 3 times x plus 5, which is 3x plus 15. Before I go any further, are you caught up with me? Or do you have a question? Are you wondering how I got something up here? Because now what do I have to do?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. And I notice I'm going to have a quadratic equation, so I am going to want to get it equal to 0. So there I've combined like terms. Oh, look who's here! Yay!
X squared plus 4x minus 5. X plus 4.
Okay, so now I'm going to move this stuff over. So I'm going to have x squared plus 4x minus 5.
X minus 5x plus 1.
That actually factors. Now kids, do you have to factor it? No. Sometimes they don't factor, and then you have to use the quadratic formula, but you are always welcome to use it if you wish. This one does factor.
X minus 1.
The x plus 5, x minus 1. So x equals negative 5 or 1.
Yeah.
But what do I always have to check for?
Excluded solutions.
Extraneous values, extraneous values.
And negative 5 will work.
Negative 5 won't work, so the only answer to the problem is 1. How's come negative 5 won't work?
Because the denominator.
Because it would make the denominator 0. And that's never allowed. Now, if you get all the way through that, I'm gonna be tickled pink. You're gonna lose a little bit of points if you don't recognize you have an extraneous root. But you're gonna get almost all the points, because this is a tough problem. You did a good job. Problem E is much easier.
Times everything by the list.
4 8.
No, you don't. Times everything by 16.
For problem E, kids, what's our goal?
So get rid of the denominator.
We want to multiply by whatever we can that will get rid of an x, a 4, and an 8.
So it's 8x. By x scoring.
Oh, we are so.
So we
Still
could,
use it.
shh, we could multiply by 32x,
8x.
but we could use 8x. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You pick whatever number you want that will get rid of x, 4, and 8. 8x will do it for you, kids. So that's what I'm going to multiply by. If you want to use 32, great. If you want to use 64, great. So what have I got? 16
over 7
Plus 6x.
plus 6x
Plus 9.
equals 9x.
Yeah. Subtract those.
So 16 equals 3x,
What's that? You can divide
right?
Yes.
And x equals 16 thirds.
that. Okay.
And now the one at the top, which was kind of like your quiz question, only this is a lot harder than your quiz question. But remember, this will be a test question. So tell me how to start.
Get everything on one side. That is equal to-
You gotta have a 0. When it's an inequality, you gotta have 0. So we'll just rearrange some things.
Subtract 6x.
You okay with that?
Sure.
Probably put up extra.
Now, we got a factor, don't we? And it does not group.
So,
You gotta do quad.
quadratic formula. I
Can't
mean,
use
it's
the
not
quadratic
quadratic.
formula.
You
Synthetic
gotta get your
division.
We're gonna
PRR.
do our PRRs and do some division, don't we, here, right? That's what we have to do.
Throwback.
So, I'm gonna tell you that the number 1 works. Now, what are my PRRs?
1, 2, 3,
1,
6.
2,
1, 2, 3, and 6. I, plus or minus, 1, 2, 3, and 6. I always start with 1, because it's the easiest number. And I can see if I put 1 in, that's gonna equal 0. Because I'm gonna have 1 plus 4 plus 1 minus 6. So if I know 1 is going to give me 0, I'm gonna go ahead and divide it out. There it is.
Oh, 0.
What's left? X squared plus 5x plus 6. What do you want to do with that?
Zero factor.
That factors x
X plus 6.
plus 2 plus 3.
And then put on another one.
We're going to go to the number line, but before we go to the number line,
X minus 1.
exactly, I want to emphasize you need 3 factors. This number line has to have 3 dots on it. The 3 dots will be x plus 2, x plus 3 for sure. Those are the 2 you just got.
X plus 1.
But the third one is this, and that's a positive 1,
So
which means the factor will be x minus 1 because it's always the opposite. So here are the 3 factors for the problem. So when I draw my number line, I will have 3 open dots, and they will be at -3, -2, and 1. Now, will this skip? Yep, there's no squares or cubes or anything. It's gonna, I'm talking about no squares or cubes on the factor. So it's gonna skip. So I'll just pick a number, any number, anywhere. What do you want to pick?
0.
0. Now, again, you're allowed to pick any number you want, but if you pick 0, pay attention to where it is. This is where 0 is. So I'm going to pick 0, and it's going to give me a positive, and a positive, and a negative. Now, when I multiply those together, it's negative. Is that what I wanted?
Sure.
Yes. So this works, which means this won't work,
And the one from the far left.
this won't work,
That would.
but this will. So my answer is everything less than -3. This is what I'm going to put a circle around. Everything less than -3 or between -2 and 1. If all you give me is the number line, you're going to get a lot of points, but you're not going to get all the points. All the points come from getting an answer. Everybody good so far?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go to part C then, or number C.
It's a great time.
Oh gosh, this is where you
Number C is already factored.
probably this is where you alternate. Okay.
Now that saves me a ton of trouble, because since it's already factored, I'm going straight to the number line.
Gotta plug it in each one though.
But Chad says you got to test every single section. Why can't I just do what I did before? Because you got to square it up here, and that changes the rules.
SpongeBob squared.
So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot at -3 and a dot at 3. Will these be open dots or closed? They'll be closed. Now, what kind of answer am I looking for?
Positive.
Positive. All right, so let's see where we can get a positive answer. Here we go. I'm going to put in -4.
Okay.
-4 would give me a negative.
Negative. It doesn't
Now be
work.
careful. This, be careful. This would be negative, but when I square it, it would become
Positive, but it's
positive.
still negative.
But that doesn't give me a positive answer, does it? Doesn't work. Let's try 0. 0 would give me a positive times a positive.
Yeah, that one.
That works.
That works. Good. I'm going to keep that.
Let's do 4.
4 would give me a positive
And positive.
times a positive.
That works.
That works.
It'd be everything greater than 3.
So basically, my answer turns out to be all of this, right?
X is greater than or equal to 3.
X is greater than or equal to -3. Now, when I did the problem, I did it in sections, but all that ends up colored in, so I only need to write this. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, B.
This one has a denominator, Miss Ward.
Oh, Lord, this is the hard one.
Open and
This is the
close.
rough one.
This is the rough one.
That means
Goes
one of
against
those
all
dots is
logic.
gonna be filled in.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check my video because I want to get this on video.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, I got plenty of time. Okay.
How much
It
time do
only
you have
records
left?
for a little while, then it
Oh.
turns off, so I got to keep an eye on it.
Oh, my
All right, so here we go. Now this is the toughie. So I need you following along and doing what we're doing together. All right, here we go. Step 1,
Subtract 3.
you got to subtract the 3.
Good job, Adam.
And when you subtract the 3,
You have to make it fraction.
feel free to think of it as 3/1. Because the next step
How does it matter?
is to get a common denominator. So this may look like a plain 3, but it really is over a denominator already. It's over 1. So to get the common denominator, which is going to be x minus 2, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by x minus 2. Now, this fraction has x minus 2 in the denominator. This fraction has x minus 2 in the denominator. So now I can put it all together and make one giant fraction over x minus 2.
Oh, joy.
The numerator is x plus 4. Now be careful here. This is minus 3 times x minus 2.
Minus 3x plus
So
6.
it will become x plus 4 minus 3x plus 6. Right? I didn't. It's still there. It's going to stay with me through the whole problem. I never get rid of it. Let's clean up the top. What do we have on the top? Now, this is good. This works out. But we have now a situation where we're going to have 2 dots on our number line. And I know you all know where the bottom dot is. The bottom dot will be at 2. Anytime we throw in negatives like that, it messes us up. So over to the side, negative 2x plus 10 equals 0. Negative 2x equals negative 10, so x equals 5. So I'm going to have a dot at 2 and a dot at 5. Are those dots open or closed?
Closed. Closed, but one's open.
The
The
2
denominator's
dot is open. The 5 dot is closed.
Wait, why? Oh, wait, never mind. Don't answer that.
Denominator dots are always open, right? No matter what. If you're a denominator dot, you're open. Well, what are you doing on your iPad? You're talking to your mom.
I was talking to her about Precal.
Uh-huh.
We were discussing asymptote.
I'm sure you were. Please don't do that during class. Okay.
Wait, if it's x equals 5, wouldn't the point be negative 5?
No, I want to know what's going to make this 0. So if I put 5 in there, that gives me 0, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the dot goes, whatever makes it 0.
Why is it hard like that? I mean,
Why is it what? That's my, I just don't want to waste a bunch of marker coloring it in. This is a solid dot because of the or equal to.
So lucky you don't have to do it without limiting an hour.
Now, will this one skip? Yep.
Find
So I
out.
only need to check one number. You guys like to use 0? Let's use 0. If we put 0 in, our top is positive and our bottom's negative. Does that do for us what we need it to do? No,
It's the
because this
middle.
means positive. So if this one didn't work, this one will, and that one won't.
He was less than X.
So our answer is all of the x's in between 2 and 5, including 5.
Right.
That's the hardest question on the test. It's not the longest question, but it's the hardest question.
The graphic is long, right?
What do you
I
mean?
said I'm hard, Jimmy.
You're
Hard.
They're always less than in the
Yes.
comment.
You.
Like
Yes.
this.
You.
You need x to be bigger than 2 and
I have.
5. That's what that says.
No, for real. I'd be hard.
Okay,
Huge.
now we have A. Let's get this done, kids, and then I'll let you work on practice test 1 on your own.
We already finished.
We already finished.
No, if you did at home, that would be
did.
great. You can compare answers and help each other.
Oh, Robbie,
All right, here we go. Step 1,
Subtract 4X.
subtract 4x.
Okay.
And factors. Take
It
X out.
factors.
Take X out.
Take an x out. Very
And that's
good,
going to be a
Tim and
0
Meredith.
number line.
Yes, it will.
So we're going to take out an x. You know you have to factor. You know that. We do it every time. But it doesn't factor like a normal problem because the terms aren't right. However, you can take an x out. Then when you put it on the number line, the x, the plain x, gets placed at 0. And then you got another one at 4. They will both be open. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Is this one going to skip?
Yes.
Yes. So you need to try one number, and you need to get a negative result. So if you want to try -1, that's fine. If you put in -1, this would be negative, and this would be negative. When you multiply those two negatives, you do not get negative, so this didn't work. Which means this will, and that won't.
0 is less than x, x is greater.
0 less than x less than 4. That's the answer to the
Can
question.
you say boom, clap the sound?
Woo.
Now for the big one.
Now for the big one.
Now for the what?
Big one, Robbie.
The big one.
Okay,
I couldn't even take the first big one.
we have practiced enough of these. You know what you need to do.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Really, really original.
first thing I'm going to do
Factor.
is factor everything.
Factor.
So I look at my numerator, and I see I can take out a 2. And then I see, oh wait, that factors. So there's my numerator done. First I took out a 2, and second I factored the difference of squares. You with me? Now, my denominator actually factors also into, like Noel said, x minus 4 and x minus 3.
Take out the -3, and there's going to be a hole.
The x minus 3's will cancel,
Yeah, Jack.
It's going to be 3, and you plug it in.
and my new reduced problem is right here.
Plug it in. Plug
You with me?
Yeah.
So, I know I'm going to have a hole where x equals, what canceled? 3. So I'll plug 3 into here. Now when I plug 3 into there, I get 2 times 6 over -1. I'm putting in 3. Do you get -12?
Yeah.
But where are you
So
going
I
to plug
have a
that
hole.
in? We don't have that
Go
many.
back to- Just do your best.
I just made it up. Like if you label it, you can like say that that's what it is.
Or you could make every hash mark worth 3 or something like that.
Or 2.
Or 2.
Or 3.
Or 12.
Or 1.
Or 3.
Just add more hash marks. Now what else can I put into the picture? Horizontal asymptote.
Yeah.
And where will the horizontal asymptote be?
2.
It'll be at 2. Now that has not happened to us recently, so let's talk about it. This problem has a 2x over a 1x. 2 over 1. If you look at the original problem, it's 2x squared over x squared. Do you see 2 there also?
Yes.
The horizontal asymptote is at 2. Y equals 2. All right, what else do you see?
X is 4.
The vertical
That's
asymptote
what I meant.
is where x equals 4. Because, kids, the denominator can't be 0. So x can't be 4. So far, so good. Now what?
Plug 0 in for y.
plug 0 in for y. So I'm going back to my box, and I'm going to plug 0 in for y. So what I'll have is 0 equals 2x plus 6 over x minus 4. So 0 equals 2x plus 6, which means x equals negative 3. Now, some of you don't do that work because you have recognized, because we've done like 12 billion of these problems, you have recognized that whatever makes the numerator 0 is your x-intercept. So what would make this 0? Negative 3. That's where it is. How about a y-intercept? Don't have that yet.
Oh, that's, you just gotta plug in zeros.
Plug in 0. So if I plug in 0, my top would be 6 over negative 4. So negative 3 halves. Now, in terms of filling in the blanks, and remember, this is exactly what the test looks like. This is identical to the test. So you need to fill in those blanks. So in terms of filling in the blanks, horizontal asymptote, y equals 2. Vertical asymptote, x equals 4. Y-intercept, 0, negative 3 halves. X-intercept, negative 3, 0. Whole, 3, negative 12. You need to fill in the blanks. Now we can sketch it. See these 3 right here? Can you kind of just see that? That looks kind of obvious to me. Is it obvious to you?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You have to plug in a one.
You just put it at the top, you can't go over that.
Can you just put it at the top, Ellie says? Absolutely. Some of you may not understand why she knows it has to be up there. So plot a point, pick a point. The only thing about the point is it has to be something bigger than 4. Because you got to be over on that side of the asymptote. But Ellie's exactly right. That's the picture. Full credit.
It's not always that way. The reason it's like this. Is you can't
Does
go
labeling
back.
count as credit?
So you know that it's up there.
List and label.
Okay. I guess the directions just answered my question.
Yes. All right, we okay with that? So we just did the whole practice test. Now, what I need you to do is finish practice test 1. If you did it last night like you were supposed to, first of all, God bless you. And second of all, check your answers with somebody and see how you did.
Can we go over one, please?